Hello guys, so in this video we will take a look at what is ArcToolbox and how can we use it, and how can we create our own custom toolbox, and how we can create a Python toolbox. So on Arc Catalog, in order to open the ArcToolbox window, you need to come to the top here and enable it from here. If you cannot see it, this is where you can enable it from right here on the top. Same thing on ArcMap. If we open ArcMap, you will see that you have the same button here where you can enable your ArcToolbox window. So the toolbox window shows you what kind of toolboxes exist that you can use. And toolbox is basically like analysis tool or a way to do some function or some processing in a certain way that is pre-created for you. So for example, here we have so many different toolboxes. So right here we have more than 400 toolboxes. If you open any toolbox, you will see inside of it a tool set. So this is a toolbox and this is a tool set, and inside the tool set you will find different tools you can use, and every single tool do a different thing for you. The way to open the tool is right click on it and say open, or double click on the tool itself. And most of the tools, like I would say 90% of the toolboxes, when you open them, you will see that you need to enter an input and output and predefine the properties. So this is, for example, add Z information in the 3D feature. So this takes like a feature class and you define the property output, and then you run the tool, and then it will enable Z information for your feature class. So there's so many toolboxes that you can do so many different things. So now let's try to open one of the toolboxes we have and run it and see how can we use it. So let's go to geocoding tools, and we are going to choose create address locator. Here in any tool, if you don't know what it's used for, you can right click and go to help, and ArcMap will open the help for this specific tool and tell you what it's used for and how to use it, and any information you need about the properties and the inputs and the outputs. And also will show you the Python code used to create this toolbox. So let's go back here and we can right click and say open, or you can double click on it to open it as well. Now we have our create address locator. An address locator is basically we'll create a geocoding service that we can use in ArcMap. If you remember when we used geocoding before, geocoding is a way to type an address, and then ArcMap will locate it for you on the map. Here we can use a Texas address shapefile, this shapefile on the top right here. This one already have like point location for houses, and it have the house number, the house address, the street, the city, the county, the state, and the zip code. So we can generate an address locator using this shapefile because it have all the address information we need. So here in any toolbox, when you see this green dot, that means that this input or this entry is mandatory. You cannot run the tool unless you enter this information right here. So the first thing here, say address locator style. We are gonna, and here we choose the style for the address, and because this is a US address, we will choose US address single house, and we'll say OK. And here it will ask us where is the input data that you want to use to create your address. In the master folder you will see toolboxes folder. When you open it, you will see Texas addresses shapefile, and this one have about 4,000 houses addresses. We'll check this one and say OK. The next thing here, it said that in order to create running functional locator or geocoding, you need to define the fields that match street ID, street address, street name, house number, and all this information. So automatically ArcMap will try to match this information needed based on the fields exist in the shapefile. But also, as long as you can see this X right here, that means you cannot run the tool yet because the minimum information needed is not done yet. So here, as you see, there is an asterisk before this house number name. When you see an asterisk, that means it is a mandatory field, so you cannot leave this field none or empty. So we're gonna match the house number with the street number. So right now the X icon here disappeared, so now we can run our tool to create our locator and geocoding service. And here on the bottom we define where the output location will be, so we will save it in the same folder as the shapefile. When we click OK, you will see in the bottom right here, there is something saying create address. This is processing happening. So if you double click on it, you will open the results window, and when the execution is done, you will get this notification right here, and it will tell you like this have been executed at this time, and the start time, and executing, creating, and this is during the executing time, and then after it succeed, it will tell you it succeed. If there is any problem and if it didn't work or there's any errors, you will see it here in the results window. So now we have our locator created for us successfully. So if we open to ArcMap and open a new document, and we add our shapefile, now when we go and open the geocoding toolbar, see here you cannot see your geocoding that we created. So here you click on manage address locators, and you click add, and you try to locate this locator we created, and you will double click on the locator we created, so we added as a geocoding service. Double click. So now I have this one selected. I'll close, and here right now I have my geocoding service ready for me to search any address of these addresses. So let's say, for example, if I want to locate this address, let's see what is the address. So here, this is a complete address. We're just gonna copy it to try to use it for search, and its a city is Linder. So we are gonna come here and type this address and say the city Linder, and when we press enter, you will see that the geocoding service works, and it did locate our address and it found it for us. So if we zoom down here and we press enter again, you will see that the geocoding service works. So you can use the toolbox directly to create your address locator. If you right click here and you say I want to create something new, you have the option to create address locator, but when you click on it, what will happen is it actually going to open this toolbox for you. So creating an address locator from the toolbox is the same as when you right click here and say create address locator. So this is how you can open a toolbox, and this is how you can like run it. Also, we can create our custom toolbox by right click and say new toolbox, and we will name it toolbox 2. And here we can also create a Python toolbox, and we can name it Py toolbox. And now we can come here and right click on the Arc Toolbox window and say add toolbox, and we can add both custom toolboxes we created, one for Python and the other one for regular tools. And now we have both our toolboxes right here. You can right click on your custom toolbox and say add tool, and here you can choose any tools you want to add to your custom toolbox. And this one is used to, if you have tools that you use all the time, or you combine between different tools, you can create your custom toolbox and add any toolboxes you want. So for example, here I will add the create address locator and maybe KML conversion to layer. So I will add this two, I'll say okay, and you will see like both of them been added to my toolbox. Here, Python toolbox, when you see this icon, the blue icon right here, that means it's a Python toolbox. And Python toolbox is used to write Python code to create your toolbox. So here we can right click on the Python toolbox and say edit. And when you click edit, you'll see that you have the Python code used to create this toolbox right here. So for example, if we go to any existing toolbox like Excel to table, you will see that this is actually a Python toolbox. And when you right click on it and you say edit, you will see the Python code used to create this toolbox that convert Excel to table. And you can copy this code and create a new toolbox and customize it however you want. So when we get to how to write Python code section, we will see how can we write Python code to create a toolbox for us. But this is how you can create it, and this is how you edit it. Also here you check syntax. When you write your code, when you click check syntax, if there is any errors in the Python code, it will show up here. If it show no syntax error, that means we are good to go with our toolbox. And in your custom toolbox also you can add new script. You can add a Python tool right here as well, and here you can add a new tool set, and the tool set is just a subfolder for your toolbox right here. So this is a conversion toolbox. It have a tool set called Excel, and inside of it you have your tools. So tool set is basically a way to organize your toolbox however you want. The second option here is the model builder, and in the next video we will see how we can use model builder to combine different tools together. So we add one toolbox, and the output of this toolbox we add it to another toolbox, and in the next video we will see that. Here also you have the option to save your toolbox to run on any different versions of ArcMap. So for example, if you are sharing this toolbox with someone that have ArcGIS 9.3, you can save your toolbox as 9.3 toolbox and send it to them to use it. Here you have the item description, and here you have the properties to change the name and the location, where is it, and you can add description about what this toolbox does. And also for each toolbox, when you double click on it, it will open, and if you right click on it and say batch will open it in a way that instead of you running one file, you can run multiple files. So let's say for example here, the tool that converts KML to layer. If you have, let's say, 10 KML files and you want to convert all of them to layer, and instead of opening the tool and do this 10 times, you can just open the batch and create 10 rows, and for each row here you can double click on each column and say, here's the input KML file for me, this is the first one, this is the second one, and here's the output location, and here's the name, and here's the data name for each one of them. And when you click OK, KML to layer toolbox will run automatically 10 times, and each time it will create KML to layer based on the file you selected in the input. So again, when you right click on any tool, you will see open, it will open the regular one, batch if you want to run it several times. Also you can copy any toolbox and paste it. So here I can copy this one and paste it right here. So I will have my table to Excel right here. And also for the entire toolbox window here, you can save this settings. So for example, if you did a lot of changes into how your toolbox looks like and you added a lot of custom toolboxes, you can save this settings in order for you to have it maybe when you upgrade your ArcMap, or maybe when you reinstall your ArcMap, you can just come here and load your settings from a file. And here we have environments, and basically environments is a way to set up the settings for any tools to run. So for example, here you have the output coordinate system. Say make the output coordinate system for any tool same as the input. Here you can change it to make any output have a specific spatial reference if you change it from here. Also you have the workspace where you say, I want all my output to be saved in a certain location as a workspace. You can change any settings here, and any settings you change right here, it will be applied to all the tools when you run it. Also you can open the environment from any toolbox. When you open any toolbox, you will see that you have the option to open the environments from here, but again it will be applied to all the toolboxes you work on. So basically that's it for toolboxes. Now you know what is the toolbox is used for, how you can create your own custom Python or regular toolbox, and how you can add your toolboxes to it. One problem that you have to keep in mind sometimes, that if you created a new toolbox, make sure that it have a unique name that you didn't use before. And if you try to delete a toolbox and it's not deleted, make sure to go to your folder and delete it. And in the next video, we will see how we can open the model builder and create a combined toolboxes together. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.